Linda, hello. How you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. How you doing, Sam?
I'm excellent. If probably better than what I deserve. If I can keep from coughing during this session, we'll be doing really well.
Awesome,
Um,
awesome.
but we had this conversation here, and our title today is "Staying in Harmony During Change."
And there's all types of change,
Hmm.
and some is welcome, some is not.
Hmm.
And we just need to approach it as change is,
Yeah, yeah,
and instead of reacting to whatever that change is, taking a step back and pausing and then responding
yeah.
to what that change is, that makes life so much easier, so much more harmonious. And I know life's not always easy, but we get to pick our hard.
Right, right. Exactly, exactly. It's and we can go very broad and what's on the minds of a lot of Americans, right, and worldwide is that
Yeah.
the change in administrations. So we can, there's a lot of things we can discuss there, and this is not a political show. We're not going to get into politics, but what we want to talk about is how we act or react and adjust to change, and how that change can totally throw us out of kilter,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um, I have family members, and I'm sure you do, that are on both sides of the spectrum,
Right.
some in the middle, some far, some whatever. And so having the conversation, um, I have to admit, um, my youngest daughter, I love her. She is phenomenal. We are very, very close, but I do poke the bear. And trust me, if you knew my youngest daughter, you would understand that I am truly poking Mama Bear, right? And
Right.
so, but I also know when to back off. And I also know what topics not to poke, right?
Right.
And so she was just down. She's in the medical field and she's traveling, and she was just down. So she came down to visit her first grandchild, my first great grandchild,
How fun.
um, and she figured it out. All you have to do is pick that grandbaby up once, right?
Uh-huh.
That's it. She picked that grandbaby up, and her heart melted. Um, so now she's trying to figure out, how do I get back to Florida? How do I, she enjoys what she does,
Right. Right.
and um, she enjoyed the job she had while she was here. So now she's got another major change coming. How is she going to keep that in harmony? And she said some things and communicated with my granddaughter in a way that was typical for her. But now she has a little. She didn't burn the bridge, but she took a couple planks out, right? And so now she needs to mend that, and so she needs to begin to, not balance her life with her daughter, but to bring some harmony back into their relationship. And sometimes that's difficult when we um, maybe say some things that we don't really mean, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes we think with our mouths,
Mm,
and
yeah,
we think with our hearts, which is fine, but we need to take that pause. And sometimes we need to take several pauses.
yeah, right.
um, I know for me, over the years, I've learned to react less and respond more. But
Hmm.
there are still times where I will just jump right in, and almost every time I just jump right in, I regret how I did it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's not that I regret the sentiment or the feeling behind it, I regret the way I presented it.
Right, right.
So when we're talking about staying in harmony during whatever changes are going on, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in, maybe you're seeing it in your neighborhood, maybe you're contemplating some big changes, don't be reactionary. And that's so much easier to say than to do.
Oh, it is.
But I would say for just about anything that's going on, if you could take a deep breath and count to 10 slowly,
Yeah.
you can probably respond in a much better fashion than if you just jump
React.
in.
Yeah.
Now, there are some things that need to be addressed immediately, and you just do the best you can with that. But, and I know, especially as when we're younger, we don't really care so much about harmony and balance. We're testing the waters, we're testing
Yep.
our boundaries, we're learning and growing in life. And that's okay. But as we get older, we definitely, we should have learned a lot of things along the way.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean we're not going to learn more, but
Right.
you know, I'm 63 and there's a lot of things I can't use as an excuse anymore.
Yeah, I know. However, I did figure it out though, the age thing, Linda. Reverse it. Okay, reverse it. So I'm only 17. So you can't hold me responsible for anything. I'm not even legal to sign a document.
Well, at 36, no, I'm not going back. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yep.
I learned a lot through that time, but no, never again.
Yeah, you do get to that certain age where, come on now. They say to act your age. Don't ever use that youthful exuberance and things like that. But there are some things we have learned over the years that says, Sam, that's just not the way to respond or to react, right?
Right.
And what it does is it brings contention, it brings strife, and you never know what kind of strife you're causing in somebody else's life because you're upset about something somebody said or did, or something that happened in Washington D.C. or across the pond in England, or whatever's the Russia-Ukraine war is close to my heart and close to our home, close to home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you hear everything that's going on, and to be able to step back and respond to the questions and respond to what's going on instead of having that knee-jerk reaction that really just causes people grief. We always have to think about, words matter. We know that. We teach it. We've been taught it. We have mentors that, words matter. Words matter. And when it comes to changes, small, medium, large, extra large, and monstrous, we have to be able to respond to it's almost the reverse order. We want to respond in a reasonable and sane way so that we're not whacking somebody else's harmony way out, right?
Right. And I think one of the things that I find most noticeable as I'm aging and as I'm looking back on how I did things is you can keep harmony and not necessarily agree with the person you're talking with or what's going on. It doesn't mean that you approve or
Right.
or any of that. It's just you have to get harmonious within yourself on how you're going to deal with it. And we can only really affect the things that we can interact with on a personal basis.
Right.
So if what's going on, say, in your friend's family in another state bothers you, or you're concerned about it, you have to step back and look and say, what personal effect can and do I have on this? And then that's the part that you address.
Right.
And again, when you're talking politics, when you're talking conflict and all of those things, affect what you can affect.
Yes. Yes.
Because you have to start there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what you do with that after that is up to you.
Hmm.
But sometimes I think we get so overwhelmed by the size and the complexity of some of the changes that come our way that we had, what's the old adage, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
Right. Right.
We have to again take that pause and step back and say, yes, this is huge, but where do I start?
Right.
The
Right.
first thing that I can do to address that, and how can I do that in a way that allows me to keep some peace of mind, keep some
Right. Right.
harmony in my household,
Hmm.
in my family, in my neighborhood. And that could be new jobs, that could be moving to another city, or just maybe getting a new house.
Hmm. Hmm.
you know right now we think of change as this big thing,
Right. Right.
but change starts very small.
Yes. Very small. Very small.
So we have to start breaking that down so we can get out of overwhelm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And life changes are big.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've got family, if you've got people close to you, what seems like maybe a small life change still has, it still goes farther than you.
Right. Right.
But take it a step at a time.
Yeah. I'm think of a situation too, and some things that to try and give y'all some advice and maybe some guidance or coaching. If there's so for example, we have a situation in our family right now with a sibling who is very ill. And so I have my beliefs, opinions, and concerns. It is not appropriate for me to address them with her. My job is to support her. My job is, what do you need? What do you want? How can I support you? Now, I do have another family member that knows exactly how I feel, that knows exactly what I think she could do, that knows exactly how I would fix it for her. Right? And that's wrong. I mean, it's okay to talk to um, the other family member, and we can, say, okay, so what can we do for her going forward and stuff like that. But my sister doesn't need my stress and my concern over her, right?
Right.
Then what she needs is my support. What can I do for you? How can I help you? What do you need today?
And I think, that's my area that I work on, is emotional support. And what we have to remember is the emotional support that we give needs to be what the recipient needs, not
Yes.
what we feel they need. And you need to bring in your emotional intelligence
Mhm.
into that. You need to
Yeah.
open your eyes, remove yourself from the equation, and just be there to be the support that they need, because anything other than what they need is going to be stressful for them. And
Yes.
if you're
Yes.
there to support, you're not there to add stress.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I think it's easier for us to do that with people we don't know than it is with people that are very close to us.
Right. Right.
Because in our heads and our hearts, we've already decided what's best for them.
Absolutely. I know what's best for my sister.
But you know what? We're not them.
No. No.
And and that's hard. That's very,
Yep.
very
Hmm.
hard.
Yep.
And so give yourself grace
Yep.
to disagree silently and support.
Right. You know, we talk about, as we get a little bit older, we evolve, we change, and everything else. I know that 20 years ago or 30 years ago, I would have said exactly what was on my mind. Um, and all it would have done was hurt her and offend her,
Mhm.
you know. And at times we had that type of relationship, and so but now we're in a different place. We're older, hopefully a little bit wiser, and exactly what you said. I need to be whatever support she needs. For my sister, knowing that I pray for her is something that she needs, okay, wants and accepts.
Mhm.
Um, my advice, sometimes not. However, what I have done is I have mediated through basically my cousin, um, and she's a medical person and stuff like that, and so I know a little bit more. So I'm able to pray properly. I'm able to do what I need to do, and I'm able to talk to my cousin and say, um, why, why is this and this happening? Well, um, if I were to ask my sister that, she would just get defensive,
Right.
and there would be no harmony. There would be contention. It would definitely um, create conflict. And at this stage of life, and with this stage of her health, that she doesn't need that. She needs harmony. She needs peace. She needs to be able to know that her big brother is there for her for whatever she needs or wants. Yeah, she's 1,500 miles away. I would jump in the car right now. I would walk right off the set and go right up there and drive 15 hours straight if she asked me to.
Right.
Right.
Most
Um,
definitely. And, even when my mom was passing, and I remember
mhm.
thinking, she finally got to where she said, it's just time. Well, she's my mom, so I wasn't ready for her to go. But again, that's not for me to decide.
Right. Right.
And when she was ready to let go, our job was to be there to help make that easier for her
Yes.
and to
Yes.
love her all the way through, just like she did for us.
Right. 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 Right.
And
Right.
again, that's so much harder to do to the
Than it
people
is to
to the
say,
people
yeah,
that are close to you, right?
yeah. Hmm.
And so what it really gets into being is part of being in harmony is being outer focused.
Yes.
And not there are lots of times we need to put ourselves first,
Mhm.
but we also need to realize when it's time to step aside from that and be other focused. And you can be other focused without losing yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And I know, these are some of the things we're going to be talking about on the conference
It is. It is.
cruise in June. And it's really kind of empowering
Hmm.
to know that you have this control and
Right.
to use that control for good
Hmm. Hmm.
in your life and the people that you're around.
Yes. But and you did mention the cruise, and this is something that Linda is very experienced and an expert in, and that is the self care aspect of our lives, and so often that has been misrepresented, misused, and abused. Where with Linda, you will find the compassion, you'll find the passion for you and for your growth. Linda's certified in DISC. She's a DISC consultant and certified as an EQ, emotional intelligence consultant. And so these are some of the things you'll find on board ship when we go on our cruise, which is June 20th through 23rd. Time's running short to confirm. We will have a link in the show notes. But that conference, once again, is June 20th through 23rd. We'll be going out of
Fort Lauderdale, I
Fort
think.
Lauderdale. The conference, you have to sign up for the conference. It's a very small deposit, and then we'll send you the link to sign up for the cruise, and you can make arrangements to make your payments there. But we'll have a link there for you to jump on and check out all the information.
And we do need to get those confirmations. You know, we need to get those finalized because the cruise usually needs to be paid 90 days beforehand. So
yes,
even though it's not till June, you know, we need you to take action now.
yeah. So
and your dream needs you to take action now.
Yes, your sanity and your harmony need you to take action. So we look forward to seeing you on the cruise. This has been Linda Wilson, Sam McEwen for Balancing Act, Living in Harmony. Live intentionally, be very blessed, my friends. We'll see you later.
Bye.